Well, hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. Many episodes, well, most all the episodes I do in my studio that we built, and it works pretty good in there. When I first started doing the regular dude walking in the Word, I actually was doing it in the backyard, and that worked out a good portion of the time. But then when I would want to record late in the day or something, or if it was raining outside or something, it didn't work. So then we started doing, I got the studio set up. But there are days that I'm traveling, and a lot of times when I travel, I do the episodes in the studio before. This week was not one of those weeks. This week, things were happening, and so this episode in particular will be on the road down in Homestead. I am down in Homestead, Miami, for the weekend to participate in a couple triathlons, doing a kind of a doubleheader sprint distance Saturday, and then the Miami distance, which is longer and tougher, on Sunday morning. All right, so let me read here today. We're looking at Deuteronomy chapter 33. And this is really Moses blessing the different tribes of Israel. Now, this is not something new. These blessings had gone out way before, even with Jacob. Okay, so I'm not going to go through each individual tribe and discuss each blessing. But what I wanted you to see through this whole thing is that God blessed these tribes not based on the works they had done, because these guys had done some nasty things. Okay, there was most of the guys, tribes mentioned here, had been involved with selling their brother into slavery. Okay, but God blessed that nation and blessed those tribes in particular because of His grace. Really, okay, it's not by the works that these guys did, but it was His grace that the blessing came. All right, so I'm going to read it. This is all. We're going to spend the whole episode here on chapter 33 today. And this is entitled The Blessing Not Based on Good Works. Deuteronomy 33 says this. This is the blessing that Moses, the man of God, pronounced on the Israelites before his death. He said, "The Lord came from Sinai and dawned over them from Seir. He shone forth from Mount Paran. He came with a myriad of holy ones from the south and from his mountain slopes. Surely it is you who love the people. All the holy ones are in your hand. At your feet they all bow down, and from you receive instruction. The law of Moses gave us the possession of the assembly of Jacob. He was king over Jeshurun," which is another name for Israel, "when the leaders of the people assembled, along with the tribes of Israel." Okay, so that's an introduction right there of God's blessing, that He's blessing all these tribes. Okay, now you're going to see, we're going to work down through each individual tribe here. "Let Reuben live and not die, for his people be few." I'll stop with that one to start off with, because Reuben is one, he was the oldest, but remember, he was the one that he was not disowned, but his father didn't give him a good blessing because he had slept with his concubine. Okay, so again, these blessings are not based on good works, but just the grace of God. Okay, verse 7. And this he said about Judah, "Hear, Lord, the cry of Judah. Bring him to his people. With his own hands he defends his cause. Oh, be his help against his foes." Okay, Judah has been known with warriors, including David, who was from the tribe of Judah. Verse 8. "And Levi, he said, your Thummim and Urim belong to your family's faithful servant. You tested him at Massa. You contended with him at the waters of Meribah." Urim and Thummim was on the priestly garments, and those were used to determine the will of God. Okay. Verse 9. He said to his father and mother, "I have no regard for them." He did not recognize his brothers or acknowledge his children, but he watched over your word and guarded your covenant. He teaches your precepts to Jacob and your law to Israel. He offers incense before you and a whole burnt offering on your altar. Bless all his skills, Lord, and be pleased with the work of his hands. Strike down those who raise against him, for his foes till they rise no more. Let Benjamin, he said, about Benjamin, he said, let the beloved of the Lord rest on him, as secure in him, for he shields him all day long, for the one the Lord loves rests between his shoulders. And about Joseph, he said, Joseph, there's two tribes there, because remember, you can go back to our episodes where we talked about that, but Ephraim and Manasseh are the two tribes that are part of Joseph, okay? May the Lord bless his land with the precious dew from heaven above, and with the deep waters that lie below, with the best of the sun brings forth, and the finest of moon can yield, with the choicest gifts of the ancient mountains, and the faithfulness of the everlasting hills, with the best gifts of the earth and its fullness, and the favor of him who dwelt in the burning bush. Let all these rest on his head of Joseph, on the brow of the princess among his brothers. In his majesty he is like a firstborn bull. His horns are like the horns of a wild ox. With them he will gore the nations, even those at the ends of the earth. Such are the tens of thousands of Ephraim, such are the thousands of Manasseh. About Zebulun he said, rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, and Issachar in your tents. They will summon people to the mountain, and there offer sacrifices of the righteous. They will feast on the abundance of the seas, on the treasures hidden in the sand. About Gad he said, blessed is he who enlarges Gad's domain. Gad lives like a lion, tearing at the arm or head. He chose the best land for himself, and the leader's portion was kept for him. When the heads of the people assembled, he carried out the Lord's righteous will and his judgments concerning Israel. About Dan he said, Dan is a lion's cub, springing out of Bashan. About Naphtali he said, Naphtali is abounding with the favor of the Lord, and is full of blessing. He will inherit southward to the lake. About Asher he said, most blessed of the sons of Asher, let him be favored by his brothers, and let him bathe his feet in oil. The bolts of your gates will be iron and bronze, and your strength will equal the days. There is no one like the God of Jeshurun, who rides across the heavens to help you, or on the clouds of the majesty. The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. He will drive out your enemies before you, saying, destroy them. Verse 28. So Israel will live in safety, and Jacob will dwell secure in a land of grain and new wine, where the heavens drop dew. Blessed are you, Israel. Blessed, or who is like you, a people saved by the Lord? He is your shield and helper, and your glorious sword. Your enemies will cower before you, and you will tread on their heights. Okay? So that is Deuteronomy 33, the whole chapter. You saw in that chapter that it was blessings. Moses was pronouncing blessings on each tribe. There was never any curses there, which they deserved curses because of the sinful actions they had been involved in the past. But God blesses them, okay? And it's just another thing of these blessings were based on God's grace. It wasn't the works that these guys were all so great and righteous. They had done many wicked things, these tribes had. But it was God's grace that brought the blessings on them. And in our lives too, it's like that. I don't deserve eternal life in Jesus at all, okay? But it's God's grace that gives me eternal life just by me accepting salvation in him, okay? So again, this is based on grace, God's grace, not on works. And it's a lot of this Deuteronomy ties into that, okay? We only got one more chapter to go, chapter 34. So I will see you tomorrow as we continue our journey through the book of Deuteronomy. And on Sunday, which actually is tomorrow, we will look at the book of Psalms. All right, Lord's blessing. I will see you later.